Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing good. This is Tutor Hira, and it's time for Grade 7 Language class. Log into aplusstudents.com. Go to Language Arts section, Grade 7. And the chapter that we are going to study today is Prefixes. We will discuss these three lessons of the chapter. Let's begin with lesson number 1, words with pre. Well, what is a prefix? You can say a prefix is a group of letters which can be added to the beginning of a base word to create a new word. Now, what is a base word? A word with a meaning of its own. So you can add a group of letters, a prefix, to the beginning of a base word to create a new word. And knowing the meaning of a prefix can help you determine the meaning of a word, means can help you figure out or find the meaning of a new word. If you know the meaning of a prefix, it can help you determine the meaning of a new word. And what is a prefix? A group of letters which can be added to the beginning of a base word to create a new word. Let's say the prefix pre, because in this lesson we are going to deal with this prefix specifically. It means before. Pre means before. Now, if I take a base word, mix, it's a base word. If the base word is mix, and I add a prefix pre before it to the beginning of this base word, what do I get? The new word we get is premix. If the prefix is pre, let's say pre, and we add it to the beginning of a base word plan, we get a new word pre-plan or pre-planned. If the prefix is pre, see, pre-built, the word is pre-built. It means pre is added to the base word built, so we get the word pre-built. Now pre means before, built is added. A new word pre-built means built before, or wait. So premix means mix before, pre-plan or pre-planned means planned before. So if you know the meaning of the prefix, you can learn or you can determine the meaning of a new word. Hi, Esther. Welcome to the class. And there is another kid as well. I can't pronounce your name. It seems difficult for me. But welcome to you too. Let's begin the test. Okay. Now, when would a group of people pre screen a movie? Before the film is released to the public, or after the film is released to the public? Here, the meaning of the prefix will help you. How? The word is pre-screen, means it is made up of two things, a prefix and a base word. The base word is screen and pre is a prefix. And we know the meaning of prefix pre. It means before. So what would a group of people pre-screen? When would a group of people pre-screen a movie? Before the film is released to the public, not after, because pre means before, right? When might you see a preview for a new television show? After the show has been released or before the show has been released? Now we have the new word is preview, and it is obviously made of two things, a prefix pre and a base word view. And prefix pre means before. So when might you see a preview for a new television show? Before the show has been released. Before the show has been released, you can see a preview for a new television show. Preview means view before the show has been released. Which of these is part of the pre-writing process? Research or editing? What is done in the pre-writing process? Research or editing? Hmm. Now, what is the answer, guys? Please answer in the comment section. Research or editing? Well, which of these is part of the pre-writing process? Pre-writing means writing before. Well, before writing, what is the process? Yes, research is done before writing. Editing is done after writing. So research is the answer. If you pre-arrange a meeting, when do you plan it? On the spot or in advance? If you pre-arrange a meeting, when do you plan it? Well, if you pre-arrange a meeting, when do you plan it? On the spot? No, it's not possible. Pre-arrange means arrange before. It means you plan it in advance. Which group predates the other? Humans or dinosaurs? Which group predates the other? Humans or dinosaurs? Well, you're saying option one. Let me select it and then we'll see. Oh, no. Which group of these two predates means existed before the other? We know dinosaurs existed before humans. Predate means to happen or exist before something else. So, dinosaurs predate humans. Dinosaurs existed before humans. If a star can only be seen during the pre dawn hours, when might you be able to see it? What is the pre dawn time? Before dawn, what is the time before dawn? So, if stars can only be seen during the pre dawn hours, when might you be able to see it? 4 a.m. or 6 a.m.? It's easy. So, just read it and try to understand. 4 a.m. or 6 a.m.? Nobody is answering. I'm waiting. Well, if a star can only be seen during the pre-dawn hours, when might you be able to see it? Well, option 2. Esther, you said option 2. 6 p.m. is not pre-dawn. Option 1, 4 a.m. is pre-dawn. So we can see them at 4 a.m., not 6. Not 6 p.m. 6 p.m. is evening time. Why might you buy pre-made food made before? Because we know the meaning of pre, do we? You don't want to cook it yourself. You want to cook it yourself. Why might you buy pre-made food? There are two reasons. Option 1, option 2. Option 2, Michael. Well, why might you buy pre-made food, ready-made, pre-made means made before food, when you want to cook it yourself? Really? If you want to cook it yourself, why would you buy pre-made food? Does it make sense? Well, pre-made. Pre means if the food is already made before, pre-made food, why would you buy it? Because you don't want to cook it yourself, right? So this is the answer, the first one, option 1. Well, Michael, I have explained it. I hope you understand. Why would you preserve a painting? Why would you preserve a painting? To keep it in its original state or to make it look more attractive? Why would you preserve a painting? To keep it in its original state or to make it look more attractive? Yes, it's option 1. Why would you preserve a painting? Because you want to keep it in its original state. Very well. The first option. What helps? prevent what helps prevent a cold? Taking cold medicine or washing your hands frequently? What helps prevent a cold? Taking cold medicine, first option. Washing your hands frequently, second option. Well, taking cold medicine prevents. Uh-oh. You said option one. Why is not correct? Prevent means to stop something before it happens. So washing your hands frequently helps prevent a cold. Now, prevent means to stop something before it happens. And how can it a cold means how can you make it happen? How can you let it happen when you wash your hands frequently? So this is how it is. Okay, so we'll move to the next lesson. We'll learn the use of another prefix, that is re. This is re. A prefix can be added, the beginning to the beginning of a word, to a base word, to create a new word. And knowing the meaning of a prefix can help you determine, remember this part, knowing the meaning of a prefix can help you determine the meaning of a word. Now, the prefix re means again. Prefix re means again. Okay, let's add it to some base words. Re, add it to the base word gain. It's a verb, gain. So you new word regain. Let's add it to our new word refreeze. So you get a new word refreeze, means freeze again, because re means again. So you get the meaning. Refreeze means freeze again. Okay, if the prefix is re and you add it to a word create, we get the new word recreate. Let's create again. Recreate. So the meaning of the prefix re is again. Which would you refreeze? Ice cubes that are starting to melt, water that you want to make into ice cubes. Which would you refreeze? Just pay attention to this word. Refreeze means freeze again. Ice cubes that are starting to melt, or water. Would you rephrase water that you want to make into ice cubes, or would you refreeze ice cubes that are starting to melt? Refreeze means freeze again. Well, which would you rephrase? Are you going to answer? Refreeze means freeze again. So obviously we are going to freeze the ice cubes that are starting to melt. No, not option 2. Esther, water that you want to make into ice cubes, it's for the first time. But refreeze means freeze again. Which would you want to freeze again? Ice cubes that are starting to melt. Obviously, you'll freeze them again. When might you reload a website? When it doesn't load properly or when it loads successfully? When might you reload a website? When it doesn't load properly or when it loads successfully? Very easy. Yes, doesn't load properly. Excellent. Why might you recheck your work on a test? When might you recheck your work on a test? Because you found mistakes the first time you checked it, because you don't have time to finish it. Why might you recheck your work on a test? Because you found mistakes the first time you checked it, because you don't have time to finish it. It's also easy. Well, why might you recheck your work on a test? Because you found mistakes the first time you checked it. Which would you be more likely to refold? A perfectly folded sheet or a crumpled napkin? Which would you be more likely to refold? A perfectly folded sheet or a crumpled napkin? Well, which would you be more likely to refold? A perfectly folded sheet or a crumpled napkin? Yes. Obviously, you would be more likely to refold a crumpled napkin, not a perfectly folded sheet. Which might you reheat? Reheat the raw ingredients for tonight's meal or the leftovers from last night's meal. Which might you reheat? Yes, it's option two, Michael. Which might you reheat? You cannot reheat raw ingredients because that needs to be that need to be cooked first. So the leftovers from last night's meal can be can be reheated. Yes. Which might need to be readjusted. A backpack with straps that are too tight, a backpack that is fairly small and light, which might need to be readjusted. Re means again, adjusted again. A backpack with straps that are too tight, a backpack that is fairly small and light. Esther, have you answered for this question? I guess yes. Yes, it's the first one, a backpack with straps that are too tight. They need to be readjusted. Who can get remarried? Someone who was married before but isn't now, or someone who has never been married who can get remarried. It's pretty easy. Yes, Michael, it's correct. Someone who was married before but isn't now can get remarried. Excellent. Why might you relaunch a product? because it wasn't launched well the first time, or because you haven't launched it yet. It's again, why might you relaunch a product? Well, why might you relaunch a product? Because it wasn't launched well the first time. And if you haven't launched it yet, why would you relaunch it? You will just launch it, okay? So, because it wasn't launched well the first time, you might relaunch a product. Why might you re-enter a building? Because you have never been inside, or because you left your jacket inside? Well, why might you re-enter a building? Because you left your jacket inside. If you have never been inside, why would you re-enter it? Which might you refurnish? A new house with no furniture, an old house with old furniture. Which might you refurnish? Means furnish again. Well, yes. An old house with old furniture. You might refurnish an old house with old furniture. Good. Why might you redraw a graph? Because the lines are crooked or crooked, is easy to read. Which might you redraw? Because the lines are crooked. Which needs to be rearranged? A messy pile of papers, a tidy stack of papers. which needs to be rearranged? Yes, a messy pile of papers. Obviously, a tidy stack of papers need not to be rearranged. So a messy pile of papers needs to be arranged. Okay, students, it's time for it's time to end the class here. I hope you understand. In the next class, I'll be continue with the same topic because some of the lessons are left, and we'll discuss some more prefixes and the use of those prefixes. So for now, I'm going to stop here. I'll see you next time. Till then, have a great time. Bye.